Hey guys, today I got this piece of beauty, I'm gonna call it for now. I got it for $1. It's one of those cheapo chainsaw wannabe pieces. And yeah, I have the charger and I was supposed to buy the batteries for it, but it takes two batteries, one right here and one right here. Because they couldn't agree to make a 42 volt battery somehow, or 50, whatever they want to put on it. Yeah, 42 volts. And as a result, I'm not going to spend over $100 in two batteries. That does not make any sense for a cheapo chainsaw that it's really hard to even find online. And as you see here, this symbol resembles something. I've seen some cars, I bet, with a similar symbol. Not exactly the same, they added one more ring. But if you take a ring out, it seems so similar to something else. Anyway, let's not waste time. And let's open it up and see what are we dealing with. Because no, I'm not planning to put it into a chainsaw anymore. And no, I'm not going to buy the batteries for it because it's not worth it. I have already two battery-operated chainsaws, one 80 volts from Atlas and a 40 volts from Ryobi, and they've been working just fine. This plastic seems to be anonymous plastic so far, but it seems to be a little bit strong, but not as strong as you would expect in a chainsaw. Here's the pull. Here's the adjuster, which that's a little bit interesting because how would you adjust that? Oh, so the tensioner on this one is not like in the other chainsaws that, you know, you tighten it or loosen it on the middle. This one is supposed to have an automatic tensioner, so it holds the chain tight at kind of a constant place, I would say, because there's no way, look, there's no way to tighten it or loosen it from here anywhere. And no, these two are not something that you can open or close like that. And this is a very interesting take on it. And without wasting time, let me take this handle out of my way. And yes, I'm using the tool I made a video about. That would cost me around 50 cents and I put the batteries on it. And let's get rid of these screws here. Hidden in these holes here that we're gonna take out. And there's two more screws. They're Phillips, but they're so tiny that they make absolutely zero sense. Why didn't they just put regular? But that's beyond me. A chainsaw that you can't even find online by name. It's, you know, usually high quality. And another thing, another reason why I do not want to make this chainsaw into a usable chainsaw is that, do you notice anything missing on this entire body here? What do you think is missing? Seriously, pause the video, comment down below if you notice what's missing before I tell you. If you ever used a chainsaw, what is number one thing that a chainsaw must have? I don't care how good it's built. It's a lot of moving here on the chain, on the pulleys, and all that stuff. And it needs to be lubricated. There's no oil here. It's oilless. An oilless chainsaw I cannot trust. There's no way I'm going to use a chainsaw that doesn't use oil. There's no way. There's zero chances of me doing that or saying yes to that. It's just not gonna happen. And let me take this apart here. There's absolutely nothing inside this blow molded handle, whatever they did with it. No inscription or description or hieroglyphs or nothing that they could put there what kind of plastic this is. But it feels like a I don't know. I'm not gonna comment on that because I don't know plastics. I'm not Mr. Ave that knows these things better than me. But hey, I'm just gonna work with the knowledge that I have. Now, let's take these other screws here before we go further, and let's do things properly. And now this is what I call, a bolt. That's a long one, and these are really good. I usually save these materials here because they're very useful for other projects. We try to break in this one somehow. Okay, let me see. Maybe I spoke too early. Not really. Oh, finally. Whoa, those are some serious bolts. Okay, this one seems to be, these two seem to be a little bit easier. So I'm gonna try to pull them out this way. Okay. And I'll save these for other projects too. You know, when you do this kind of stuff, usually you don't waste anything. Anything. Every piece that you see here that looks insignificant is actually a pretty good piece to have. And now this is where the battery contacts go, and looks like they just molded right through and they glued it together. Or no, maybe not. Wait, let me see. So they did not glue it together. Okay. I'm being surprised in a few things here. And I don't know what you call this kind of plastic. If any of you knows what this type of plastic is, it feels extremely dry. Very dry. Like, it feels sturdy, but not in a high quality sense of the word. I don't know how to explain it. It's very hard to explain it. Okay, and now this should technically be free to go, I think. It should. I didn't say it will. And no description on this other plastic either. Looks like they just broke through on this piece here. If you look at it, this piece here looks like it was broken by someone at factory. I didn't break it, as you saw. I did not break it, but they molded it wrong and they just had to break it manually. How cool. That's some high quality control that I'm seeing here. Let me see for any description on this other metal. And there's zero description anywhere. I mean the plastic, sorry. Zero description here too. Now we come to the fun part. Now this is my favorite part of it. Let me put this through. Let me see how they managed to kind of accomplish some cooling. Okay, that seems like some kind of fiberglass. And here as well, some broken piece or chewed up. I didn't do that, so that's interesting. And that's the screw that wouldn't come out before. Okay, so now we are faced with a motor. Oh, it is actually brushless. Or it feels like a stepper. And somebody put 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm assuming that's where the coils are somehow, or the magnets. Is it's the stator on the rotor on top and the stator under there. And I'm gonna pull it out and see if maybe at a later time I might attempt to turn it into a generator somehow. It should work. And here, that's what's supposed to kind of cool it down. 2104. There are some capacitors here, and I'm gonna keep an eye for them. And where's the board? So they seriously put the board under that kind of goop stuff in here. They buried the board, and this stuff is some kind of, I don't know, that rubbery agent. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the stuff here that is used for cooling in the older devices instead of cooling paste. It's this kind of heavy rubbery stuff. That's how this one feels, just a little bit more rigid. And okay, so let's I'm gonna cut this off because I'm not gonna use it in this fashion. So, and yes, I'm supposed to undo these here, but I need these cables to be long, since I'm planning to do other stuff with it. And if this motor is really 40 volts, it can make me a little bit happy actually, because there's a lot of things that I can do with it. And I'm happier for the motor than anything. And yes, it was worth $1, I think, now that I'm seeing the motor. If it goes even close to what I'm projecting or planning to do with it. And yes, if you spotted the mistake I made here, you're absolutely right. I was supposed to take the ring out first and then proceed with the rest. And I'm gonna take the ring out now. Let me see if it's a spiral or single. Looks like a semi-spiral. There's 2 rings in here. And you always, when you take these rings out, watch out your eyes. These things can actually be thrown so far or jump so far that, God forbid, if it falls in your eye, you are in a really bad situation. And here we go. This is a good piece that I can use. It looks like it was chewed up a little bit. As you see here, not really the best of metals they could choose for it, unfortunately, but I can use it for other projects. Okay, and this looks like a very cheap molded aluminum or cast aluminum. It does not have a single description or a stamp anywhere on the metals or the plastics of what it is, what type of aluminum is, when was made, where, or any of that information. And yes, it is a cast aluminum. I can tell the finish marks. I'm not sure if you guys can see them. There's a small one right here. But this is, feels very, very cheapy. Very cheapy. Let me try to snatch a corner or something. Let me just try it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it breaks up fairly easy if you get a small enough piece, as you see right there. It is aluminum. That's all I can say. I'll save it for some other project if I'm gonna do any projects with it, which I'm not sure about that now, but we'll see. And here's what I've been waiting for. This big boy right here. Okay, so let's take these out. So I'll have to modify a little bit on it, and I might be able to do something really nice, actually. Nice generator, bolt it onto something, probably do it spring-loaded, like the old clocks used to be by one of those. I think they still sell those springs on Amazon. Buy a big spring load, or from the old crank radios, if you remember the really huge ones. If anybody still has it, or somewhere in, in a storage shed, take the what you would call crank part today, install it on the other side with the handle out. So I have to modify probably the shaft here somehow, bolt it on the body, either wood or plastic or something, so the shaft goes in on the unwinding part of the crank, or spring as I would like to call it. So when you crank it and you accumulate that energy on the spring, because that's mechanical energy, you transfer more mechanical energy in here, so when it spins we get electricity out of here. Now, how I'm gonna modify that, I'll have to just study it a little bit more, but definitely I would not trust this one for a chainsaw. It doesn't look that bad on camera, but I've seen other chainsaws on my own chainsaws. Actually, I've seen Husqvarna, they came out, and I've seen the motor they use on it. It is a complete different story. Or the motor in my chainsaw on the Atlas, completely different story. This one inside, it has the coils as you see right there, but it feels a little bit on the cheapo side. The resistance is not bad, and if I can test it, 1, 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's actually not bad for what I'm trying to use it for, but it's really bad for a chainsaw. So now let's talk about this board here. What did they even think about this one? Seriously, they thought they can get away by leaving this heatsink right here, right? And let's say this heatsink here is enough to cool down the circuit board, if there's any inside here, which I'm assuming there is. But the problem is that the heat on these chainsaws goes in here on the motor, which supposedly has these fins that could act like a cooler, but it's not enough. What lubricates the chain? What lubricates the chain that is rubbing on this piece right here, and as you see, it's chewed up because there's no lube at all, no oil. So how do you even build this? And no, I will never believe in a chainsaw that has no oil. I don't care what kind of technology you come up with. This is metal on metal. It's a chain on this metal that's grinding the whole time. This here is pulling the chain. Boom, 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 the whole time it's hitting. Would you trust a car, a gas or diesel car, without oil? Let's say an engineer comes up and says, oh yeah, that's a beautiful internal combustion engine. It uses 0 oil, so just take it and use it. It's pretty good. It's new technology. Absolutely not. And that's one of the reasons why I know a lot of you probably might be saying, oh, but why didn't you donate this chainsaw to someone and maybe someone could be happy with it? No, absolutely. I'm not happy with donating this to someone if I would never use it myself. It's not fair. I cannot just drop it on someone else's lap. It burns out. No. No, you don't do that. If you do not, if you wouldn't like for somebody to do that to you, you don't do it to somebody else either. And yes, the circuit board, I see some MOSFETs here, if I'm not wrong, or they look like, are under here. The rest of the circuit board is here, that somehow they thought this was a great idea. No. I'm not even gonna go further with this one. I'm just gonna probably harvest these contacts. That's the only thing I would like from here for future projects. And the switch. And no, I don't even need the connector. And no, this one can go to the nearest garbage I have here. I know it's aluminum, I know it's valuable, I know for somebody that knows where to sell it or melt it or whatever. I don't have that ability, I don't have that possibility, so I'm not gonna do it. And now, for the fun part that I promised, I'm just gonna quickly do this one to see if it produces anything as is right now, just to prove a point to myself. And if you noticed something else on this motor, what do you see missing here? What do you seriously see missing on this motor? Let me show you all the sides, if you can spot what is missing. And let me rotate it 360 so you can see the entire thing. What is missing here? Labeling. How do I know this motor is 40 volts? How do I know this motor is not a 20 volt that you had to put two 20 volt batteries on the motor itself and the circuit would step it down to 20 so it can have more amps? How do I know how many RPMs? How do I know how it's coiled up? There's no information on this entire machine that I opened. The only information it has so far is on this switch, because it was made by somebody else, as you see right there. The only information that I have is on this switch. And let's see, the battery shoes, zero information. Those are just taps, zero information, just the polarity, as if you don't know the colors, and that's it. And as you saw, the whole body that we went through had zero information. The only other information that was in this entire machine was this little sticker right here, cordless chainsaw loggers are gents. What is that supposed to tell me? What is that supposed to tell me, seriously? It's not telling me technical details. You need technical details on these machines because you might need to operate on them. You need to repair it on your own. You need so much information, and they're just, oh yeah, let's not put nothing on it. There's no need for that. When it breaks, it's not worth repairing anyway, so let's get right. I'm so glad that I did not go to the lengths of buying batteries for it. And yeah, I spent that $1. I think my $1 is worth on just these parts here. Yeah, that's to me, that's worth it, $1. These, when you have other projects, come in very, very handy. And now, well, let's just test something for fun. There's nothing else we can do at this point. And I'm assuming, I know it should be a DC, but I'm assuming it's a DC. Let me put it 200 just to be on the safe side. These things, I don't understand. How can they make something like this and just, oh yeah, let's throw it in the wild and maybe somebody will buy it. Who cares if we put no information about it anywhere? Psst, why do we care, right? Why do we care? Let's see. Come on, seriously now? I don't want to butcher it more than I did. And yes, I have the gator clips somewhere, but they are somewhere and I'm here. And nothing. Okay, so yes, it needs some modifications. And we will touch base. I know, I kind of knew it's not gonna produce anything because I have to change the phases and all that mod stuff that I have to do, but I'm not sure if I'll use it now for a generator or as some kind of other tool that might come handy. I don't know what kind of tool I can make out of it. Even the shaft is actually quite weak, kind of scuffed up and all that stuff. But if I come up with an idea of what to make with it or what to make out of it, I'll let you know. And you guys let me know what would you think you would make with such motor that I took from a chainsaw. If you come up with an idea, please let me know in the comments. I'm really open to seeing what you can come up with, and maybe we can work it out. I don't mind. And I'm open to ideas. And with that said, I appreciate you spending your time with me today, and I hope we learned something and you learned to stay away from these kind of chainsaws like this one, which whatever the name or nameless it was, this one here, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. A chainsaw without oil is not a chainsaw. Stay away. And with that said, we'll see you next time. Like and subscribe if you don't mind. And see you next time. Bye!